Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my NHL 20 franchise mode here in the state of hockey. In the previous episode, we completed the 2036-2037 regular season, and yet another President's Trophy to our name, make that 14 straight for the Minnesota Wild. And obviously a big part of the discussion this season, a question we laid on the table, rebuild, ? And for the first month, first few games, iffy here and there, but we finished out the month strong and we never looked back. 60 plus wins again. We're undeniably the best regular season team of all time. You can't dispute that. That's just a cold, hard fact. But also another fact is that we are getting older. The cap is catching up very quick with young guys coming off of ELCs asking for more money. It's about to take a dent into our core. So let's take a moment to discuss that. I know it's about the playoffs, but this is going to be a constant theme for however far we make it into the postseason. There's some big contracts up here in the next season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Look at our bottom 6. It's not super strong. And yes, we have a lot of young guys coming up. We have to kind of pave the way for them. Young guys like Toby Kahn and Haydar. Gogolev's not even that old. Don Kreider. A few defensemen. I've gotten your suggestions. There's only a few guys that I think are untouchables, but this team is changing, and this might be one of our last chances at a Stanley Cup with this exact squad. We've been able to keep our top 6 intact for a very long time. But things are changing here in Minnesota. Things are changing. We're a good team still. Great regular season team. Guys like Francis, Newman, Petrangelov, Brant Clark are keeping this team propped up. And I think it'd be interesting to rebuild this team or retool a down season. We might even make the playoffs next year if we trade away a few assets. We did check out the end of the stats, or the end of the season stats, at the end of the last episode. So if you're intrigued to see what went on through 82 games, be my guest. But we have one goal. That is Cup number 7 now. We need some redemption. This squad needs redemption. After losing Quinn Hughes, 1 game away again from his 7th Stanley Cup, and then he retired, which took a blow to us. It did. It was a major blow to our squad. And I get why he left, and it helped us out that he left. We could retain Newman and Toby Kahn. That helped us out. But we need a Stanley Cup. This squad needs to go out on the high note. And we've lost a lot the last few seasons. We haven't seen a cup in a few years. We get reverse swept in the finals a few years ago. We blow a 3-1 series lead in the first round the next year. And then we blow Game 7 last year, which is kind of my fault. DeAndre Moore was not ready for Game 7. And I accidentally put him in. But it all starts with round number 1. Chicago versus Minnesota. I mean, we usually meet in round number 2, but I'm kind of happy to see a rival on our path to another Stanley Cup. 42, 33-7, 6-4-0 in their last 10. They're the worst team to make it in the Western Conference. We see that every single season. We haven't seen them for a while. It's been a few seasons, so let's go ahead and see what the Chicago Blackhawks are looking like in 2037. It's been a few years. It has been a very long time. I don't know what they look like. Okay. This is a very intriguing roster. Hold on, they're missing something up there. Look, scratch players, I mean, they got Juka, they got Kaufman, and they got Cristiano. Those guys can sub in, but they're missing something up there. I mean, their bottom six is really solid, top notch, but there is something missing on that first line. The first line is a third line on a not great NHL team. It's not a bad, it's a terrible first line. This might be the worst first line I've ever seen in a postseason matchup. Sebastian Aho, 39, Colin Scarabelli, and then you got Jack Quinn. So 2 vets. Sebastian Aho is probably a future Hall of Famer in this game. 1,500 points, easy, 429 goals. Has he had any postseason success? He's been to the postseason 4 times, which sucks. That sucks. That's a pretty sad career. Jack Quinn, where has he been? He's been with, I have no idea, Arizona, Edmonton. He's been all over the place. Carolina, Edmonton, Arizona, Calgary, New Jersey, Tampa Bay, Chicago for a few seasons. He has not had the best NHL career. Only 501 games. Drafted 23rd overall, highly touted prospect for this upcoming NHL draft. That is a strange first line. Their second line is easily better. You got a 36-year-old Kirby Dach, Ray Reimer, and Silas Gogol, a former first overall pick of the Chicago Blackhawks. I wonder if the coach is doing some, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. That second line's really good. Third line isn't even that bad. You got an Adam Beckman, former Minnesota Wild. Traded him a long time ago. It's been a hot second with us and Adam Beckman. Traded him to Toronto. Sorry, I'm Canadian. I just sometimes pronounce the second T. I know you're not supposed to, but I do. So deal with it. Not a bad NHL career. You got Darren Barnett, who is a beauty in this franchise mode, and then you got Grant Hughes, who I want to say is in this franchise mode is probably related to Quinn Hughes. That's all I'm saying. So Darren Barnett on the third line, he's gonna tear a third line apart. Former 40 goal scorer, actually current 40 goal scorer, a beast with Vancouver and a beast with Chicago. Over 1,000 points, almost 600 goals, great NHL career. Their fourth line is great. Joffrey Gill, you got Bill Hillen, sorry, and Zachary Mason. That fourth line's phenomenal. It's better than our third line. So, coaches, I don't know. Defense, how's it looking? Like an AHL defense, you got a Frederick Steen, who's a medium elite, so he's their future. They're kind of on a rebuild. They need to rebuild. They're in a worse position than us, but I don't know. LaChance, Fata, you got Brunstrom, Flynn, and Backer. Stefan Backer, former Minnesota Wild. Nothing exciting here. Steen is the only reliable guy here. Everybody else is a third pairing guy. How about their goaltending? Their goaltender is Jin Ryun. Oh yes, Jin. We have met him plenty of times before in the postseason. He's been with Chicago his entire NHL career. I hope he retires there. Playoffs, does not look like he's won a Stanley Cup in his career. He's been great a few times, like right there in 12 games, my God. But he's going to need to be their best player. And then you got Aiden Cashman, who's a pretty solid backup. We already talked about scratch players, but this is a weird squad. So if we lose to this team, I'm definitely pulling the plug. I'm pulling the plug on this team either way. I think for this franchise mode, I gotta do it. You know, the next two franchise modes are coming up very quickly. There should be a promo video in the coming days for the next franchise mode. I don't want to plug it automatically in this video, but just search around my channel if you haven't. We're getting closer and closer to my end of year goal. My original end of year goal was 400. You smash that, we're almost at 600. We're at 526 by the time I'm recording. You guys are phenomenal. Now, first, let me plug in my computer, because I don't trust myself. I don't trust this computer. I don't trust it. Nope. Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine if I started? Oh, I'd get so sad. I'd be so sad. It'd be so sad. I would cry. I would cry. Thank you, computer. So, game one. Let's see what this team is made of. Same with our squad. We gotta see what we can do. I gotta believe in this squad. We've beaten Chicago before. Let's see how it goes. First period. 1-1. Sebastian Aho, their first line center, scores. Okay, and Alexei Petrangelov scores on the power play. Doubling them up in shots, but it is 1-1. DeAndre Moore, I decided to start. We gotta prep him for the playoffs. If he falters, Spencer Knight's going in automatically. I know DeAndre Moore was a big reason we lost Game 7 last year in the Stanley Cup Finals. But we have to prep this goalie. He's going to win a Vezina and a William M. Jennings. He needs to be that guy for us. Second period. DeAndre Moore gets scored on by Barnett. Only 13 shots. They're not mustering a lot. We're still doubling them up in shots by 26-13. Offense, come on. It's up to your offense right now, Minnesota. Like, come on, power play. Come on, that's a biggie. That's a long one, Minnesota. Alexei Petrangelov, second of the evening, and we're still on the power play, and we can't take the lead, but it is 2-2 late in the third period of game number one. Della Rovera scores a late goal in the third period to secure game number one. Della Rovera. I will remember that name. Okay. Not the greatest game from DeAndre Moore, but he held it in there late. Two important goals in the third period. Alexei Petrangelov, two biggies, two power play markers, if I'm not mistaken. And Della Rovera on the fourth line coming in clutch. That's what I like to see for my depth that I didn't have too much faith in going into this season. We did make a move at the trade deadline for Hood. Hood, I'll show you real quick. If you didn't watch the last episode, I highly suggest you do, just to keep in touch with this squad. You got Jamison Hood, 26 years of age, got him from San Jose. Wasn't bad in the games that he came over for, almost half a point per game. Hopefully he's good for us in the postseason. Already a -1, but it's one game, low-scoring affair. Somebody's got to be out on the ice for a goal against, but we have the lead in the series. Let's see if we can take two on home ice heading to the Windy City. Come on, Minnesota. First period. 1-0 Chicago. Gogol scores late into the period. Shots are dead even, 11-11. DeAndre Moore with a strong period. Jin Ryun with a stronger... Is it Ryan? Ryun? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. 11-11. He had a strong period too. Where's our offense? Not coming out of the gate strong in this series. Second period. 2-0 Chicago. Kirby Dack, their second line center, scores a late second period goal. DeAndre Moore's doing all he can. If you allow 2 goals in 2 periods, I'm not going to be mad at you. Especially with the shot volume, even though we're leading in shots. I'm asking for that kind of play. Okay, Minnesota, you gotta step up. DeAndre Moore, you have to be solid here to give us a chance. Third period underway. This game is not over with. We have a chance to make it a game. Our offense has been stale so far. Cale Newman with a big goal, cutting the lead in half, halfway through the third period of play. Come on, Minnesota. Somebody step up here late. Where are the big guys, man? I've only seen a few guys step up. 2 minutes remaining, and that is a Chicago victory. 2-1. Ryun and DeAndre Moore with strong games. It was a goaltending battle. Not what you would expect out of these two behemoths. I mean, Chicago, a former behemoth. They had Gustav Slychuk, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews at one point. Dylan Strome. You know, they're not the same team that they were, but they even up this series heading to Chicago. Okay. Minnesota, you need to teach this team some lessons. Everybody on the roster knows that this team is capable. But the players on this team also know that things are going to change this offseason. And that's a fact. We're going to lose pieces. We're going to trade away assets. That's a fact. We're going to do a retool. We're probably going to be a strong team next year, but you want to win with this current squad. You want to get Cup number 7. Petrangelo has, I would say DeAndre Moore has been our strongest player. But I have a bad feeling. Minnesota heading to the Windy City. See if the offense can finally step up. Don't make me go best lines. First period. 1-0 Chicago again. We haven't scored a first... Have we scored a first period goal this entire series? Nobody... Francis. Friggin' Brant Clark. I don't expect back-end goals, but... Come on. Francis. Newman needs to score more. God, everybody on the squad, step up. Second period. Della Rovera. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. Della Rovera. I don't know. LDR. That's his nickname. Live with it. Cale Newman with a big goal in the second period, increasing the lead by 2. Della Rovera, LDR. I'm gonna stick the landing one of these days. Leading them in shots. Big second period, our best performance of this series so far, and we can take the lead in the series here in Chicago. 2-goal lead halfway through the third period. Can we hold on? Sebastian Aho is his second goal of this series. Come on, 5 minutes. I'm asking for some good goaltending. Don Kreider making it easier for DeAndre Moore to hold the lead and actually put in their backup. Cashman goes in for Rion, and Minnesota takes the victory and the lead in the series. DeAndre Moore with a strong performance. LDR, man, that's how you step up. Lorenzo Della Rovera. I don't know. LDR, somebody help me. On the fourth line. 24 years of age, you wouldn't expect that, but you're making a name for yourself very quickly. Right time, right place, I guess. I mean, we drafted him, first round, and that was a while ago, but 6 years ago to be exact. Doesn't look like the best all-around player. He's a playmaker, too, on the fourth line, and he's out of position, but he's stepping up. His line mates are doing really solid. He's helping this squad out tremendously. Without those goals, we'd be very much down in the series. Okay. We could be down 3-0 in the series. You know that, right? Without his 2 goals there, without his goal in game number 1, we could potentially be down 3-0 in this series. So he's been our second best player. Our goaltending has been very strong. Let's see if we can go up 3-1 this series, take a stranglehold. Come on, Minnesota. Actually, Iowa advanced to the playoffs. Good. Like to see all my young players in the playoffs. First period. 2-1. 2 important goals. Cale Newman and Anthony Francis finally gets on the board this series. I was waiting for that. Bill Hillen scores late on DeAndre Moore. Only 6 shots from Chicago. So that's a squeaker. Not the nicest period for DeAndre Moore, but we have a lead. Second period. 4-2 Grossman and the haymaker Harrison Hadar with a big goal extending the lead. Gill makes it a 2-goal game, but Grossman, our future Norris winner, and Harrison Hadar, potentially future captain. I am kinda motioning for him to be captain. I know a lot of you guys like Harrison Hadar. I know a lot of you guys have your opinions, but he's the future of the squad. 24 years of age. He is the perfect man to be captain of this squad. Scoring goals as a pure playmaker is very impressive. 27-18 are the shots. We have a 2-goal lead just like last game. Gill scores his second of the evening early in the third period. Goaltending is going to have to be... No, DeAndre Moore. I knew it was bound to happen one of these nights. And Chicago has tied it early in this third period. It's coming down to the wire. DeAndre Moore lets in a late goal, and it looks like Chicago will tie this series heading back to Minnesota. Okay. DeAndre Moore was bound to have one of those games, but a terrible third period performance from him. The offense gave him enough to work with. Like all the other games, he held the lead, but man, you gotta hold that lead. You gotta hold that lead, man. I know your save percentage is under sub 900, but you've been one of our biggest assets. If Spencer Knight has to go in, I won't hesitate to pull the plug on you. I'm just saying. Okay. And it is now a best-of-3 situation. Now, if you don't recall, last postseason, last season to be exact, every series came down to a best-of-3. Every series went to a Game 7. I hope we can just finish this out in 6. Home ice. Here we go. Let's see if we can take the first of 3. First period. Here we go, Minnesota. 2-0. Harry Parrish. It is a contract season for him, and he comes up with a big goal. Toby Kahn, the highest paid player on this team. That is debatable, but he's a good player. I know that. He's our future. A big goal from him. Shots are 16-11. Minnesota a big 2-goal advantage. Second period. Barnett cuts that lead in half with a late period goal. I got to give DeAndre Moore some credit for keeping us in this game. But a late minute goal. Oh, come on, DeAndre. It's a 1-goal lead. It's too little of a lead and too long to defend. Third period, who will take the advantage in the series? Come on, Minnesota. Come on, Minnie. Come on, Minnesota. Albert Schauser there, and Barnett scores again. Just like that, keeping this game close. A power play for Minnie, and we can't capitalize there. This is coming down to the wire in Minnesota. I guess this is Minnesota. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And we take the lead. Another 1-goal game in this series. Barnett takes the first star, but as long as we take the W, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, some of our depth guys are coming in big. A lot of our big guys have to start stepping up here. I know Newman's been good, but he's minus player. Petrangelov is a 95 overall. Maybe we go with something like this. I'm not sure. If they get the plus there on the first line, Francis has 2 points. Yikes. Toby Kahn has 4. Francis is slacking. Francis is slacking as a 99 overall. We can't have that. This is the game that you want to step up in, Francis. If you want to be taken seriously as a potential captain of this team, maybe, just maybe you step up. Game number 6. We can end the series in Chicago and party a little bit. First period underway. Here we go. You know, why is it whenever we take the all-important 3-2 series lead, our goaltender craps the bed in Game 6? DeAndre Moore, you're making it very hard for me not to pull you. Oh, you're already pulled in this game. Reimer, Barnett, Fata. Going in to this game's over. There's no way we come back from 4 goals. Going into a Game 7, I don't feel confident with you, but I also don't feel confident in Spencer Knight because I don't know what he can do this series second period. We get 2 goals back. Francis actually steps up and Reimer gets his second goal of the evening. Third period. Can we muster a good third period, even make it a game. It's a large lead to come back from Chicago with the power play, and this game's over. We're going to 7, and I am put in an interesting position with goaltending. I didn't know it would come down to this yet again. Mason with a late goal on Spencer Knight. He allowed three goals on... How many shots did he face? I gotta check this out. How many shots did he face? Who is our worst player? Who is our worst player? -2 for the majority of our big guys. Really appreciate it, guys. Goaltending. Spencer Knight faced 22 shots. DeAndre Moore faced 6 shots. He let up 3 goals and had a .500 save percentage. I'm in a tough position for Game 7. DeAndre Moore was strong Game 1. What games was he strong in the series? I would say he was strong from Game 1 to 3. A pretty bad game in Game number 4. Very good Game 5. 6 was a disaster. So he's had 2 disasters. That does not make me confident in my decision going into Game 7. The playoffs could be over just like this, and if it's over this early, gives me that much of a reason to blow this team up. Which could be really fun, getting rid of a lot of players on this team. I think it'd be really fun. Or is that just me? I think it might be. Oh my god! Anthony Francis is a 98 overall. Folks, it's happening. Folks, that is the sign of the times. He is starting to digress. His shot is getting worse. His skating's getting worse. His physicality's getting worse. That's something that I hadn't even noticed. Skating and physicality is just dropping off heavily. Yeah, this is a even bigger reason to pull the cord and get this team ready so we can get a competitive team before the end of this franchise mode. Think about all the good years we've had. Think about all the good years we've had on this team. All the good years. We want to keep going in this playoff. We do. Petrangelov, this could be it for him too. He might want out of this team before what is English? Oh my god, before we rebuild. Wow, that's hard to say. DeAndre Moore is winning a Vezina and a William M. Jennings. He's had more strong games in this postseason than he's had bad. Coming off of a disaster, I have to put faith in my goaltender and my team. I need to trust them. Game 7, postseason is hanging on by thread. Let's slow sim this power play early for Minnie. Don Kreider with a power play goal. Harrison Hadar with a... Oh, yes, it's all coming together, folks. Chicago takes so many penalties to start this game. Don Kreider with a power play goal. The Haymaker with a power play goal. Don Kreider with a power play goal. 3 consecutive power play goals to start the game. And Cale Newman with a late goal. It's 4-0 Minnesota through the first period. They've pulled Ryun. Don Kreider's making a name for himself. That's why we re-signed you instead of somebody else. Second period. I feel confident in this game. If we blow a 4-goal lead, we deserve to not move on. Anthony Francis goal. It's our game. We are headed to the second round. It's all but over. It's stamped, signed, and sealed. We just got to send it to the post office. And we're not even in the third period yet. I have nothing to say. This team, Barnett, power play goal early. We should easily be able to kill this period off. DeAndre Moore with a strong period goal The goal support was there. LDR with a pretty awesome third period goal, and the Minnesota Wild will move past Chicago in 7 games. I mean, let's see, that's five straight 7-game series. This team is tired. But we move past Chicago in 7 games. Let's go ahead and check out the stats for the Minnesota Wild and see who was good, who was bad. We will find out right now. Our best player. Well, let's start from the bottom. Ling, -5. Hood, -4. But you gotta say, they were going up against some tough opposition there in the bottom 6 for their team. Jamison Hood needs to be better, though. We picked him up at the deadline. He seems like he's a good fit for this team. Wasn't the best there. Chistov was actually really good. 3 points, +3. Bring him on as a depth guy for us, and he's proving himself there. Albert Schausler with 4 points. Big performance. And this is where I start to complain about our best player. Anthony Francis, 33 years of age. He's going to be 34 next season. He's dropping off. That is a sign that this team needs to change. The culture of this team needs to change. We need to rebuild or retool. Trade away some big guys and just make this team better before the end of this franchise mode. I want to keep a guy like Francis along on this squad, but we have to consider, does a guy like that want to be around for a rebuild? Ever since he's been on this team, we have been good. He's the best player in our history. He's almost at 2,000 points. He's almost at 1,000 assists on this team. He's closing in on Gretzky's record, which is currently Ovechkin's record. And Joel Everberg's like not that many goals away. So thank you for... I can't recall it at the top of my head, but thank you to whomever checked that. That's actually really awesome of you guys. So, Anthony Francis, not a great series, 3 goals, important goals, but needs to be better. Don Kreider, -4. I see a lot of minuses on this team. I don't know. I don't have a reason to explain it. Pietrangelo was really good. 5 points. I expect better, though. 3 power play goals, so I'll give him that. LDR. For some reason, I'm really liking this kid. For some reason. I don't know. 4 goals, 5 points, +4, shooting at 50%. Shoot the puck more often, man. Gogolev was a -2. 6 points, though. Toby Kahn, 6 points, +1. Pretty good. Noonan was 7 points, 4 goals, 1 game winner, -2. Harrison Hayter was a -1, 8 points. So a lot of our guys are minus players. Okay. I guess the games where we got blown out, I can understand. The guys that scored against us, I almost understand it, but if we want to make it far, we have to be a better cohesive unit. Defense. And the majority of our defensemen are minus players. Let's start from the bottom. Georges Bissonnette. And this is a name that you're going to hear more often. It's the end of his contract, just like Parrish, just like a few other guys. Bissonnette might be on the way out. He might be on the way out. Georges Tremblay, one of our good defensemen. A young guy, 21 years of age. Hope he can stay on this team for a while. I like him. Good. So our third pairing was our best pairing. I really like to see that. Great stats from those two. Grossman, Parrish, and Clark. Solid point totals, not the best defensively. Brandt Clark might win his 3rd career Norris. He's also 34 years of age. He's taking a turn for the worst as well. At 34, you don't have much time as a top-tier defender. Nope. Goaltending. Goaltending. I know it says DeAndre Moore as a 901 and a 277 goals against. Ignore Spencer Knight. We trusted our gut. We went with DeAndre Moore. I have to have faith in this kid to take us along for the future. I do. I have to put some faith into him. He's not even done growing. He's 23. Goaltenders are not even... Most goaltenders who've ever played hockey are not good goaltenders until the middle of their career. Most people aren't Patrick Waugh, Martin Brodeur, right? Right. DeAndre Moore is young. I have to start putting faith in him, and he won. He had a few really strong games. Easily could have been 3-0 after the first 3 games for Chicago. So he had a few really key performances. I appreciate that, but after 7 games, we move on, and we head to the second round against who will we be facing in game, or round number 2? We will be facing the Winnipeg Jets. It's been a hot second, Winnipeg. I'm excited to see them in the second round. If you've enjoyed this one, please leave a like, leave a comment, share with people who you think may enjoy this sort of thing. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.